It's been a very interesting year. Lots of different things that have been happening locally, nationally, and AI has certainly been a key thing that we've all heard ad nauseum in the news and everything. So I'm very excited for our speaker today, towards the end of the program, to give us some insights on what AI can be and how we can leverage it to our businesses. From an education standpoint, it is certainly changing things, and not just higher education, but education as a whole. And to think at one point in time we were nervous about students using calculators in class. So it's a whole different ballgame now, right? So all very, again, transformational in a lot of different industry sectors, but again, very interesting today, and very excited to hear Todd and all of the great work that he's been doing, and will share with us and some of the AI technologies that we can leverage going forward. But without further ado, we certainly want to thank all of our sponsors. And the first sponsor that we'd like to bring up is Patrick Cranley, the Chief Operating Officer of Mercyhealth Plans. They are our introduction speaker and sponsor, so we would like to bring up Patrick to say some words on behalf of Mercyhealth Plans.
Thank you very much, Matt. It's really a pleasure to be here representing Mercyhealth. We are also an employer here in Walworth County. We also like to think of ourselves as an asset that helps you attract talented people to your industry, because healthcare in our communities is one of the things that makes them worth living in. My role at Mercyhealth is to run our little health plan. So normally I think of myself as being responsible for helping individuals and businesses finance healthcare within their community. It's a little bit different approach than, say, my brother at United Healthcare or Blue Cross plan have. Those guys have a sort of a different view of the market than I do. My job is to help our high quality care in our own area. Well, how much time do I have? I have like 40 minutes, right? I mean, I wore purple socks. I'm prepared to pontificate for quite a while. Anyway, let's not do that. So all of you who have small businesses, buy health insurance for yourself or for your employees, know that the costs keep going up. And we are constantly turning to brokers and experts in the insurance market, trying to figure out, how can I control this huge item of expense on my books? And I'm going to suggest to you for a moment that you've been asking the wrong people for help. Have you ever, for instance, considered asking your doctor what a good health plan looks like? Have you ever thought about partnering with the healthcare facilities in your neighborhood to support them, to make your community stronger, to make it a more desirable place for you to work, to make it easier for you to get high quality employees to join you? It's important that we preserve these capabilities within our communities. Otherwise, we're sending everyone out, okay? Instead of using the beautiful facilities that are here in Walworth County, you got employees driving to Milwaukee, or down to Chicago, or up to Mass. That's lost time, it's a lot of money, and it's not creating the bonds between you and your local providers that will help keep your folks healthy. So, what can we do? All right, this is a map, it's us, you know where we are, we're all over the place, so let's go to some other stuff that we can do for you. Like I said, my job is to help you all finance healthcare for your employees. This is a little bit different than insurance. True insurance, the risk is speculative. I don't know whether I'm going to pay out. In healthcare, I'm really financing a known expense. We all are going to use healthcare. Let's use it correctly. We can help you do that because we are connected directly with the health system. We offer insurance. We offer self-funded administration. We can help with plan design. We can just consult with you about how to improve access to care for your folks with local employers. In addition, we offer stop-loss insurance. So if you're working with us through our insurance company and you're a self-funded plan, we can back our own networks with our own stop loss insurance. We have a lot of tools at our disposal to work directly with you and help you improve your plan. That doesn't mean you have to buy Mercy and only Mercy. It does mean you will have somebody on your side to help you make difficult decisions about care of your employees. And you get to support the local healthcare system. So that's good stuff. I believe my 5 minutes are up. So thank you very much, and I'm going to turn it back over to our fearless leader, Matt.
We do have a plaque for all of our presenting sponsors, so I'd like to present this to Patrick and Mercyhealth. And again, we thank you very much for being the presenting sponsor today. Thank you. The next sponsor we'd like to call attention to is the Kunes Automotive Group. They are the sponsor for our work of our Inspired work at WCEDA. So this is our outreach to the youth in the local high schools. As a previous high school instructor, it's very important to make sure that as employers that we engage with today's youth, to make sure that they understand the various career options that they have, and to have them experience, what the workplace is like. So again, we're going to run a short video from Kunes, and again, thanking them for being the Inspire sponsor and for the work they do in Walworth County.
Hi, I'm Scott Kunes with the Kunes Auto Group. Thank you for coming to this year's WCEDA Luncheon. You may be wondering, what just opened in the old Staples building in Delavan? Well, I'm excited to tell you about Delavan Holdings, our new shared services company that serves all of our Kunes-owned businesses. The list of companies include the Kunes Auto Group, the Kunes RV Group, Lake Lawn Resort, Ignition Dealer Services, G10 Fulfillment, and Camp Timberley. Delavan Holdings services include marketing, payroll, HR, legal services, and accounting. By putting all of these departments together, we've pooled the resources and personnel to create a better, more efficient way to provide these services for each business. This provides more opportunities for our employees and strengthens our ability to serve the communities we're in, including Walworth County. We look forward to continued growth here and across the Midwest, and we're always looking for new ways to partner with other local businesses and charitable organizations. Feel free to reach out to see how we can work together. Thanks again for supporting WCEDA. We hope to see you soon.
Thank you again for Kunes for again supporting our Inspire work throughout Walworth County. The next sponsor is Form Wealth. They are our AI sponsor for today, and they've also sponsored the virtual AI lunch sessions that Derek and team have put out throughout the last fall here, last few months. All of those are recorded, so as a member you'll have access to that. So if you want to see what some of the best practices are locally from Walworth County and the leveraging of AI in the business world, please check that out. And then we have a short video from Form Wealth.
So I would like to talk about AI, and I want to talk to you about AI that's advisors intelligence. I'm Tyson Ray. I'm a founding partner at Form Wealth Advisors here in Walworth County that has the wonderful privilege of serving individual clients, families, and businesses in the area. And what I want to talk about with regards to AI and businesses is, from all the research that we've been doing in the AI space, what I'll tell you is most likely AI is not going to take your business away from you. It is most likely going to be taken away from you because your competitor starts implementing AI into their business. And so one of the things you need to discern is, how can you utilize AI to make your business more productive? The other thing I want to talk to you about that AI is coming into play is how it's affecting financial planning, how it's helping an advisor better be informed and better help you, the client, process decisions and understand what these solutions look like. And one of the things I don't think we've done a good enough job to communicate in Walworth County is we have certifications in business exit planning here at Form Wealth Advisors to come alongside you as the business owner to decide, what is your exit going to be from this business? Is it going to be a sale to a third party? Is it going to be an internal sale? Is it something you're going to hold and pass on to family members? And as PE has come into many different industries and spaces, we are seeing more and more businesses taking on an acquisition or being acquired or selling a piece of their business, and helping you, the individual business owner, discern what's your plan for that? What's your exit going to be? Do you have a plan? And maybe having a conversation with an advisor that's using AI to help in the business exit space and helping you discern one of the most important decisions you make, which is how you're going to transition out of your business. Because everybody doesn't realize that at the end of the day, you will exit your business. It's whether based on your terms or on terms that are set for you or on some catastrophic event. And if you don't have a plan in place, or if you're entertaining PE offers, please reach out and see if we can help you with the expertise that we have using Advisors Intelligence.
Again, thanks to Form Wealth for sponsoring all the AI activities that WCEDA has done here over the past year, and especially again with the AI luncheon series that happened here this fall, the last couple months. So it is now my pleasure to bring up the true leader of WCEDA here, our executive director, Derek Dioria. So he will give some overviews of WCEDA and kind of go through some of the nuances of the annual report that you have at your table. So Derek.
All right, well, thank you everybody. Thank you, Matt, for leading us off here, and just always so great to see so many people here. It's a great opportunity for us to thank all of you. It's a good opportunity for us to update you on a little few of the things that we've done this year, some things we're looking at doing. It's great to see all of you networking with each other, and it's really just a good time for us to celebrate what we've built together. And that's really going to be kind of the theme of my remarks today is what we've built together. And it takes so many different stakeholders. There's so many different stakeholders who support us, and we're grateful for that. And it starts with our sponsors who sponsored the event today. So again, I just want to thank all of our sponsors here. Especially our presenting sponsor, Mercy. I have a long-standing relationship with Mercy, and we're very grateful to that, and just their support of the community. Kunes, really appreciate your support of our youth program, our Inspire program, and everything you do for the community. Form Wealth, really appreciate being the new sponsor this year to get the AI awareness efforts out, and so appreciate that. Batterman, thank you for being our speaker sponsor. And Frank McLees from Batterman's also been very helpful with our housing efforts, so appreciate that. And finally, Keynote, who's our technical sponsor for today, also been a very long-standing supporter of WCEDA and just the community in general. So thanks to all of our sponsors. Next, I'd like to thank all of our members. About 25% of our revenues come from members, and we're really thankful that 90+% of you renew your memberships. It's really important to what we do. We're very grateful for that. Next, I would like to thank the county board for their support. Been very grateful over the years that they've supported us. Got a list of the current supervisors, and it's just always been a very pleasure working with them. I also want to thank Mark Luberta, our county administrator, for his leadership and support of our agency. Next, of course, our board and committee members. We couldn't do what we do without that. They put a lot of time and effort into it. They share their expertise. They give guidance, oversight, encouragement, of course, financial support. So really appreciate that. They're listed in our guide as well. So if you look at the annual report, you can see. I know a lot of them are here today. I don't know if you'd mind, just if you're a board member or committee member, just raise your hand. Really appreciate all you do to support WCEDA and the community, so thank you. My staff, I'm sorry, gosh, couldn't do what we do without them. They work tirelessly Just a great attitude, can do, always helpful. Just can't say enough. I'm so appreciative of the support that you give and all the service that you do, so thank you. And I hope that if you haven't met all of us, that you will reach out and get to know us and see if there are ways that we can help. Of course, our volunteers, really appreciate your help today, your smiling faces, and your helpful assistance just make the event that much nicer and more pleasant for everybody, so thank you. And last but not least, the Grand Geneva host does such a nice job with the event venue and the food and that, so really appreciate that. It's hard to believe, but it's been 10 years. July marked my 10-year anniversary, and it's been, it's just been a great time. I'm really proud of what we've been able to do with this organization in that time. But it wasn't always that good. A few years before I took over here, I know they had some issues with the county not kind of wavering in their support to the extent where they had actually cut their funding in half. Our membership was about half of what it was to date. Only had a few municipalities that were supporting us. Revenues were about 40% less, and balance sheet was about 20% less. So happy to report, and it's in our annual report as well, but that we have a sound financial position and really looking good for the future. But as I thought back in that 10 years, I thought, okay, what are some of the things, what are some of the areas really that we've achieved and areas of success, and I thought that might be a good place just to highlight a few of those and give some corresponding updates. And so one of the areas I feel good about is our signature events. Not only this one, which we're thankful we always have a great turnout for, but we've established a number of other annual events, such as the State of the County, our Workforce Symposium, our Three Drivers series, business educational series, after hours, off the clock event. Now those two have been in partnership with our chambers, and really appreciate their partnership. And then a new AI awareness series that we put together. But really just proud of those events. Next, I would say, when I look back, when we first came, we didn't have anything working with youth, and we've built a number of programs in the youth area. I'm sure a lot of you have heard me talk about this before, and you're familiar, you're working with us on that, but really happy with the work that we're doing with youth, and you can see that listed up there, the different programs, and if any of them you're interested in learning more about, obviously we can work with you on that. But I want to say two things about that, and one is that our education partners, particularly the high school partners where we're working here, have been really supportive of this, and I believe we have 3 school superintendents represented here today, one in Williams Bay, Lake Geneva, and Elkhorn. Also want to really thank Chris Trottier, who has his office in our office there. We were office mates. Just been a great resource in helping us build these programs. Really appreciate your help, Chris. He's even been involved in the housing efforts that we're doing in terms of the Youth Build program, getting children engaged in construction careers, and also working with Habitat. So thanks so much, Chris, for your help, and really for all of our educators who are working with us. Next, I would say with our employment programs, I jumped ahead with our housing. So many of you have probably heard us talk about housing. We had a 12-month contract from the county to see what we could do around workforce housing. I'm really pleased to say that in Whitewater, I know we've got John Wydell and Taylor Zahner here from Whitewater, but they were our first one to go, and really exciting. They've got under construction 38 units. They're single family attached or duplexes, but starting at 294, so we're really excited about that. And thank you to Whitewater for their efforts to get that going, and I know they're looking at doing more. Also have one that we hope is ready to go here very soon in the early spring, 62 unit single family, trying to target that 299 price range. So really amazing to try to get that done, and it's been a lot of collaborative work with a lot of people in this room too, so appreciate that. And then 3 other projects that are being seriously considered but not in the public yet. So I feel like just in that time frame we've made a lot of progress, and thankfully we're going to continue with that program. But I feel like that's a notable area that I'm grateful for. In terms of some of the workforce programs that we have, just wanted to show that again, but we've been expanding those, and that's really been, I think, a good value for our members and non-members. It's also given visibility to Gateway and some of the training programs that they can provide and more customized training. But one of the things this year that we rolled out was Spanish for Business. That's really gotten some good traction. We had Birdseye was the first one to do 2 sessions of that. Really had some great feedback from them. I know Radius Packaging is getting ready to do that, and then I know the county is looking to do something early in the year. So if that's something that might be of interest to you, please contact us. But we continue to expand on our training programs to help upskill, reskill, just prepare our workforce, cross-train, that sort of thing. So I've been really pleased with that. And then our partnerships too. So I mentioned earlier that before I came on, there were limited partnerships there, and really happy to see more and more of our communities getting on board as members. We've got two other ones that I think will come on next year as well, but really appreciate the support of our municipalities in addition to the county. I also feel like we've really strengthened that relationship with the county, and I'm grateful for that. So I think that's just a strength that we have, and anybody that's trying to do some projects, we can definitely help navigate that because of our strong partnerships in those areas. And then I would say the next slide there, I referenced this earlier, but really have a strong relationship with our chambers. And I believe we have Elkhorn and Lake Geneva chambers represented here today. But it's just such a great group. We work together, meet monthly. We work on different events, particularly the 3 drivers and our after-hours events. But we're always sharing information, trying to connect people with resources, and it's just a strong network. And so I want to make sure that people know that. I know we take it for granted, but I don't think it's that way in a lot of other communities, the collaborative and sharing nature. So really pleased about that, and I'm thankful. I just wanted to recognize that. And then lastly, the partnership with just our economic development partners has really strengthened over particularly the last 3 to 4 years. And this is really helpful when we're looking at prospects, industrial, commercial, whatever, to be able to reach out to our partners, maybe collaborate on projects, maybe they share connections, resources like that. But it's really been helpful in us getting more projects, getting more work done, and just having access to information. Even with the housing project, it's been really helpful to reach out to some of our partners here. So we're grateful for that. And again, sometimes people don't think to come to us to say, okay, how could we connect with them? How could some of these agencies that are listed here help us? So I encourage you to reach out and say, let's have a meeting, let's talk about this. Is there anything you could do to help? And so I think just the last thing what I want to, before that, yeah, I do want to talk about a little bit next year what we're looking at. So, I talked about our signature events. We just finalized that. Tickets are now on sale for what we're doing is a Pro-Am Throwdown. It'll expand the opportunities to other students around the county to be able to participate. Essentially, we're going to match up students with professional chefs, and there'll be a competition. It'll be fun. So that's on the 26th. We'll start seeing a lot more information on it, but really want to do it as a fundraiser to support our youth programs more, and wanted something fun and interactive, and something that supports one of our major industries, being culinary and hospitality. So we're excited about that. Got the housing listed there too, because really happy to report that the county did approve funding for us to continue this program. So we will be continuing that into the new year, and really hopeful that we'll make even more progress than we did this past year. We've got some funding to start a recruitment portal that I think is going to be really useful. We'll get some information out to you about that, but we're going to be targeting prospective workers using a lot of technology, targeting, and just lots of technological help to drive traffic to the site, and hopefully give more visibility to the jobs that our Walworth County businesses have. So we're excited to be able to get that going in the coming year. And like I said, you'll hear a lot more information about that soon. And then just lastly, there's a picture of the business park there. And so one of the things that we discovered over the last few years in particular is that a lot of our business parks are getting full, or they don't have large tracts of land. And so we're going to be talking with some of the different communities and trying to identify some sites, and what can we do to prepare, maybe even get some new sites in place. And so these are, just wanted to let you know, but these are some of the bigger pieces that we'll be working on in the coming year. And so the last slide that I just want to leave you with, and again, I'm thinking of the 10 years and that, just for kind of fun, I pulled these stats up there on the net new jobs over that time period in Walworth County, and then they give estimated wages as well. And I'm not saying that we took credit for that, but it's really collectively everybody in this room that is working to grow their businesses and support the community that allows this to happen. And you can just see that the impact there, what that can be over a period of time. And so I thought that was a good slide to leave us with. That we're definitely heading in the right direction, and hopefully if we continue to work together and support our economic development efforts, we will continue to increase that even further. So at this point, we have a few awards that we'd like to present, and the first one, I'm going to just read a little bit of background information, and Leslie, if you could put that slide to there. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Jumped ahead. Let's back up here. Sorry about that, Matt. So every year we have one or two board members who finish their terms, and we have the board members are able to do 2-3-year terms, and can't believe that Matt's is already coming to an end at the end of the year here. But Matt served since 19, and in that time, he's been really helpful and given a lot of guidance, a lot of time and effort. It's been really helpful to me to have a very calming personality and level head. So really appreciate that, Matt. Served on our executive committee for 4 years, and 3 of which has been president. So really happy that you served, Matt. I hope in the future you'll stay connected with us. I know you're close in the building, but we wanted to just thank you. We have a little memento here for your, something that you can remember us by, but just for your efforts. So I had jumped ahead, unfortunately, but now we have the awards. So we have 2 awards that we'd like to present today. The first one goes to Integra, and I want to just read a little bit of background on that. So Monroe Putnam founded Integra in 1982 following the receipt of a patent for the inner construction of seating, which allows for the replacement of individual components, a valuable feature for its customers. And in 1985, he married Dina Putnam, who also became his business partner. With Dina's background in corporate furniture, she was instrumental in the company's growth. Integra Furniture is mostly marketed to lounge areas, public spaces, and healthcare, education, and corporate environments. Integra has adapted to changes in automation with CNC routing, machines for frame assembly and computerized fabric cutting, and many more. But a skilled workforce is still the essential requirement for the high-performance products they bring to the marketplace. Integra is proud to say that their furniture has always been manufactured in Walworth County. And Integra became incorporated in 1990. When registering for their website, they chose integraseating.com to avoid conflict with other companies that use Integra in their names. Integra Seating is also used in the marketing of the company, and it is proud to be a nationally certified women-owned business since 1993, and is women-owned business in 1993. They also are a family-owned business with all 3 of Monroe's children being involved in the day-to-day operations of the company, holding positions as president, contract administrator, and executive VP. And what I would say is Integra has taken what used to be a highly manual operation and introduced automation. They also have been active in participating in a lot of WCEDA's manufacturing group and training programs, Inspire. They've been very active in supporting and taking AI workshops and classes and things of that nature. They participate in regular training classes on an ongoing basis and have developed a model to share what is learned with the rest of their employees, making sure that they're getting the most out of it. For these reasons and other ways that they develop corporate culture and support the local community, we're proud to present them with the 2024 Grow My Business Award. So would Dina and Monroe please make the way to the podium to accept their award, please?
I would like to say a few words, and Derek helped me out because I did want to let you know how much we often go to WCEDA when we're looking for some assistance, and so we're very, very grateful for that. You know, to grow a business, we've been in business for 42 years, and to grow a business, the most important part of that business are the employees that you have. And Integra has the best employee team, bar none. Everyone works together. Our management team, our engineering team, those from our customer service and admin, all the way to our skilled production workers. And this award belongs to them. And we are, as a family, so grateful for them in our business. And we also know from whom our blessings flow. We are looking forward to continuing our business, and it's going to be exciting with things like AI, and we will be looking forward to continuing working with CEDA. Thank you, Derek.
That's great, thank you. So our next award goes to an agency that I really wasn't familiar with until just recently. And it's called Sleep in Heavenly Peace. And what they do is, it was actually started in a garage in 2012, initially building bunk beds for children who didn't have beds. And the thought is really that sleep deprivation can lead to all sorts of problems for children, including affecting the quality of their education and even other social challenges. And so over the years, this agency has grown and created lots of chapters around the country. But in August of 2023, our very own Cindy Holmes, who is HR manager at Wisconsin Oven, she and her husband Mike had started a chapter of Sleep in Heavenly Peace here that serves Walworth County. And one of the things that I thought was compelling about that is that they estimate that there are about 3,200 children in Walworth County that do not have beds to sleep on. And so certainly a lot of work that could be done in that area. They also note that 100% of this is powered by volunteers, so they don't have any paid employees, and all the proceeds go toward making the beds for children. So it is our pleasure this year to present Sleep in Heavenly Peace Walworth County with the Dave Bretl Community Betterment Award, and I believe Cindy Holmes is here to accept the award, so if you could come up and accept the award.
Yeah, just a couple words. But some of the things that you said, I have a card, so that's okay. But I did want to say thank you, first of all. I know some people in this room have already supported our group. Some have already donated. Integra is one. Kunes is one as well. So there are some companies that have actually donated to our group, and we do appreciate that. We got involved because my husband, we were looking for things to do. Our kids are older, so we just went building stuff. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. We actually initially started with the Keynote chapter and decided, hey, there's a need here in Walworth County. So we did that. Went to Utah, did some training. Like Derek said, we are 100% volunteer. Family friendly. When we have our events, we do invite families to come to them. No experience necessary. And you had some of my staff in here, so. Just lastly, like, what does this organization need from you in the public? What do we need? Spreading the word. So I'm not here, I never go to speak to ask for money because the money just comes. There are people that want to donate, but spreading the word, giving us some more visibility in the community, liking our Facebook page, sharing social media posts, volunteering. We are going to be delivering 12 beds in Delavan on 12/14, so next month. This organization has two events throughout the year. One's Build Across America. We all get together and build, and then it's deliveries across America. So we are going to be delivering some beds if anybody ever wants to experience that. And then just referring somebody in need. So if you know somebody, I know people, we work with the county, they refer some people to us as well, but just refer someone to us that needs a bed. Our focus is also, though, this year and the next year to find a dedicated place to build. So thank you again for your support.
Put that to good use.
So we're getting very close to the main event here. So the next sponsor that we'd like to highlight is Batterman. We have a couple-minute video that we will run on Batterman. pleasure to introduce Frank McKern, who will introduce our speaker for today. Frank.
Thanks. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. The video, I think, pretty much speaks for itself. As a matter of fact, a lot of it is the same from last year, with maybe a few new photos. But one piece we did add was community involvement, and I'm going to take a minute to thank Derek in particular for that. And our involvement with WCEDA has been so welcoming. I'm not trying to kiss up to Derek. Let's give him a round. All of us are here today because of Derek and the hard work that he and his team put together. So thank you very much. You've opened our eyes to getting into the high schools, volunteering time. It was really great to see my partner Todd in shorts in that one photo. That was nice. And how many of you knew you could get a merit badge in surveying? It was, I learned that. I didn't know that. So again, thank you, Derek, for everything. And again, to thank Derek, he's always organized. So he gave me a write-up for our speaker. And I looked at it and thought, that's a lot of words. It dawned on me I could use AI to shorten that. So you're going to learn a few things about me while I do this introduction and what happens if you have poor typing skills. So I put in simply, well, first I spelled his name wrong, so I went down a rabbit hole. I learned a lot about Tim Leary. But I typed in the bio of Todd McLees, and it said, it seems like you're asking for a biography of Tim McLees. Unfortunately, I don't have specific information about someone by that name. So I needed to be more specific. So, bio of Todd McLees, founder of, and I spelled his company name wrong. So I got a whole page on a different company. That was interesting. So I finally got it spelled correctly, and it still was pretty long. So I typed in, make it shorter for an introduction, and this is what you get. Todd McLees is the founder of HumanSkills.AI, a company focused on using artificial intelligence to enhance the soft skills development in the workplace. With a background in technology and leadership, Todd created HumanSkills.AI to help organizations improve employee performance, communication, and collaboration through personalized AI-driven learning. He is passionate about leveraging AI to empower people and transform the workforce development for the future of work. Ladies and gentlemen, Todd.
That's one way to do an introduction. See if we can do try one more way. You grew up in San Fernando Valley in the 80s, you're a Valley girl, and you really don't want to be introducing me because of all the work we do with human skills, you know that you do most of the work, so go ahead and introduce me.
Everyone, here's Todd. He's the mastermind behind Flourishing in the AI economy, and even though I'm doing all the heavy lifting with HumanSkills.AI, Todd's the one who's going to wow you with his live demos today. So, give it up for Todd.
This is the last live demo of the day.
No, good day, Todd. Happy to help. If you need anything else, just let me know.
All right. You never know how that's going to go exactly. But so I've spent the last couple of years really diving into generative AI, which is where my focus is going to be today. It struck me a couple of years ago. I was working in Amarillo, Texas, at Amarillo College, and standing up an innovation center for them, with them, and came across this tool in October of 2022, and it absolutely changed the way that I viewed the last 30 years of my career. I just got to the point over the last couple of years where it's become an important part of how I work. I shared with the group that was in the workshop, and I apologize in advance for all of the redundancies. I spend about 30 hours a week working with these tools, and the other 30 hours a week standing on stages talking about them. And then when I go home, my wife and kids tell me to stop talking about them for another 5 hours a week. And For me, it's gotten to the point where I know that at the age of 55, with regard to work, I feel the best I ever have, and I'm performing the best I ever have. And in large part, it's because I went through this process over the last couple of years of figuring out how to augment myself, not replace myself when it matters, but to augment my capabilities and to amplify the strengths that I have. And I think that's possible for everybody. I really think that this is a time where we can help people flourish. Unlike any other technology that has ever been created or discovered, that's the opportunity. Every image and video that you see today, I created using AI. And I think we're at this key moment where it's an inflection point, not just artificial intelligence, but the other emerging technologies like fusion energy, bioengineering, biotech, genetic editing, quantum computing certainly in the next 5 or so years. It's going to be an incredible time, and it's moving rather quickly, and we know what the technology leaders are talking about. Microsoft Ignite is going on right now in Chicago. Satya Nadella's keynote was yesterday. There's the best part about speaking about AI around the country is, I did 3 slides last night for this presentation based on yesterday's presentation. Every day, it's all I do is track what's going on in AI and its impact on people. Every day, every week, there are major announcements. So we know what the technology leaders are saying. It's the most profound technology ever, the most fundamental technology. Sundar Pichai from Google, same way. But the way we have always measured the profundity of a technology, ever, and there have only been 28 technologies in human history that have been considered paradigm shifting. We'll talk about a couple of those. The way we've always measured just how profound they are is by the way it helps people flourish, the way it improves quality of life, healthy lifespan, the ability to be more productive, the ability to feel better. And we've lost sight of that in the last 50 years or so. Backing up 600 years ago, this guy, a goldsmith in Germany, what is now Germany, Jonas Gutenberg, he was on the side, his side hustle was selling Bibles. And at the time, he had significant, it wasn't Amazon Prime, it was Monastery Prime. And there were significant supply chain issues. It took 6 to 12 months to get a Bible, a new book. Manuscript, handwritten, and so forth. And depending on how ornate it was, the entire town would have to chip in order to afford one book. But the printing press changed everything. Not just about Bibles, but or books. It certainly made the production of books faster, but it also was the catalyst behind everything we know about modern European history. The Italian Renaissance, the Scientific Revolution, the Reformation, the Age of Enlightenment, 375 years, almost 4 centuries of human flourishing, because essentially one device. By the end of the 15th century, so in 1440, the printing press comes to be. There's wars fought, battles fought over it. The Catholic Church wanted control of all of that messaging. They didn't want any misinformation out, right? And what they did was democratize knowledge in just a 60-year span, in the 15th century, before any modern technology or invention that we know about. 20 million books made their way through the European continent. Literacy rates skyrocketed. The ability for people to learn, to grow knowledge, to flourish was there. And since that time, there hadn't been another paradigm-shifting technology created, invented, or discovered in the 375 years that it took to get to steam. And with steam came a slew of technologies over the last couple of centuries, and the goal, or at least the use of those technologies has been about one thing. It's been about speed. When you look back at the Renaissance and the Reformation, the Scientific Revolution, it wasn't about speed. It was about slow work. It was about philosophy and artistry and science, the beginnings of science. Everything that we've done since then has been about going faster. Whether it's the first and second industrial revolution, which definitely changed the world, or the third industrial revolution, which started 50 years ago, with the PC, the computing age began, and as we get into the digital age in the last 20 years, it's all been about going faster. Going faster, connecting more people. 40 years ago, there were 550 devices connected to what we now think of as the internet. Today, there's tens of billions of devices. So it's about connectivity and speed. But all of that is changing right now. It's all changing with these emerging technologies that are coming to us. This is the first time in 20 workforce generations, it's the first time in hundreds of years that technologies are being created not only to go faster, that's certainly an element, just like the printing press made book production faster. Its impact on people was actually about literacy and learning and the proliferation of language. AI can help us go faster, but it can also help us slow down and do more meaningful work. And that's where meaning and value exist for us. It's not in the fast work. It's not in the routine and repetitive tasks that we all have to do, the transactional, deadline-driven things. How many of you have, if you look at this chart, how many of you can see in your own life where you have some fast work and slow work? How many of you right now can see that? Okay, and which one do you find more value in? Fast work or slow work?
Slow.
Slow. And what AI is all about is this mindset shift. This is a stock chart. You can see that they sort of peaked during peak COVID, and they were at $163, and they went down to around $350. Now they're up around $7 or $8. But any idea who this might be? Peak COVID company that was really popular during COVID. This is what's known as the Peloton paradox. And it goes this way. During COVID, many devices, technologies were purchased, right? This is an AI version of what my living room was intended to look like. This is what my wife had in mind when she got me a bike for my birthday, which seems a little bit like a vacuum cleaner for her birthday. And this is what it actually looked like. And so it required a mindset shift. It required more than great technology or the ability to race people virtually, whether I knew them or not, etc. Right? And the same mindset shift is required now for all of us with regard to AI. And that is the mindset shift is it certainly has the ability to help us get things done faster. Like Boston Consulting Group found out, and this is 18 months ago, so the technology has improved significantly. They took 1,500 consultants, split them in roughly half. They assigned 18 AI tasks. They knew AI would excel at all 18. It's better at a lot more things today than it was 18 months ago. And the group that had access to GPT, they were able to go 26% faster. They got 15% more work done. But most importantly, the mindset shift is the quality of their work. And this is Boston Consulting Group. It's a top 5 consulting group in the world. The quality of the work with people who had access to AI was 40% higher. Imagine, other than at Ingram, for everybody else who has normal employees, imagine being able to raise the quality of their work by 40%. What's the value of that? So it's not all about going fast. The other thing that happened in this study was it allowed, at baseline, bottom half performers within Boston Consulting Group to completely eliminate the performance gap with top half performers. Now think about that as you think about the 100 people, the 200 people, the 50 people that work for you, that work on your team. Think about taking people who you love having them, they're part of the family, they're part of the organization, they've been around a long time, they're not considered to be in your top half, and giving them technology that allows them to perform at an even higher level than somebody in that top half. All right, so we've hit this key moment in time. This is either going to be the printing press or it's going to be social media. And we get to decide. We have agency over this. We get to decide. It's important that we understand what happened over the last 20 years with social media as a lesson, because we let it happen to us. Like artificial intelligence, social media, they're both considered to be arrival technologies. It doesn't really matter what Gateway's policy is about use of AI. You can't stop it at this point. 80+% of students are using it every day. It's on their devices. There's no stopping it at this point. They can work around every AI checkers are being banned. I work closely with the University of Texas at Austin, and they've banned faculty from using AI checkers. Institutional risk was too high because of false positives on AI checking. But most importantly, there are TikTok videos where they're giving prompts like, I'm in high school. I know there's superintendents in the room, so cover your ears. I'm in high school, I'm in 10th grade. So I say, write a 3-page paper on Hemingway's Old Man and the Sea, write it at a 9th grade level, and make a minimum of 6 mistakes so it seems like it's written by a human. Okay? And that's what they're doing. Or there are apps, there are AI solutions that are meant to humanize the way we work. And the large models themselves are getting better at it. So I know that I failed as a father and maybe as an individual in terms of my own social media habits or helping my 3 kids grow their habits in a healthy way. We went the old route of that's forbidden, screen time, etc. I've never had a conversation with the 2 that are out of the house about being more responsible. Here's a healthy way you can leverage social media. These are the good habits. But we have that opportunity right out of the gate here with AI. The reason why that's important is because the same companies that are bringing us artificial intelligence are the companies that brought us e-commerce, the web, search, everything that's eroded our privacy over the last 20 years, our sense of privacy. It's the same exact companies that are bringing us the large models. We know what their incentives are. We've seen that movie before. It took us 15 years to figure out the cognitive, neurocognitive and socio-emotional issues that social media brings with it, with dopamine bursts and addiction and lack of attention span and doom scrolling and so forth and so on. And of course there's good things too around connectivity and so on. It won't take us, we can't afford to have it take 15 years with AI. The stakes are higher. Here are some statistics that Jonathan Haidt has recently written about, and because of books like The Anxious Generation and The Coddling of the American Mind, schools are banning the use of phones now. And you can see with screen time and social media use what's happening with stress, anxiety, and depression in young people since 2010 when Instagram and the front-facing camera allowing for easier selfies came out. Social workers have the similar concerns around cognitive development and socio-emotional issues with young people as they're developing with AI. From an economic value perspective, it's an important one. When you look at the difference between, these are both McKinsey numbers, McKinsey says that generative AI is expected to have a $4.4 trillion economic contribution each year between now and 2030. It's roughly $30 trillion. When you compare that to employee well-being, it's more than 2.5 times. And so if we're allowing people who we care about, whether they're in our family or at work, build bad habits as it relates to using AI in collaborative ways, which will become more and more prevalent in our businesses, then we're eroding all of the value that we're gaining from the productivity gains that generative AI is expected to bring. So we have to find the balance between productivity and well-being, and I believe you can feel your best and perform your best leveraging these tools, increasing productivity and well-being in your business. The model that we use for this is based on Flourish, which is a book by Martin Seligman, who's the father of positive psychology, where he talks about these issues, positive emotions, engagement in work. We have all seen the Gallup statistics about the lack of engagement at work, positive social or healthy social relationships, a sense of meaning and a sense of achievement. All of those things are possible if you use AI well, if you build healthy habits and sustainable practices, it's possible to achieve all of these things at levels that we've never achieved them before in the workplace. It's also possible that it goes badly and we just let people, we leave them to their own devices and they build bad habits, they build workarounds, they aren't paying attention to the impact that AI is having on them. Without going into detail, I have a list of around 80 of these productivity traps and well-being traps and so forth that we've developed. And I think I've experienced many of them, whether it's managing creative energy, because of all of the rabbit holes, Frank used that term, that you can go down as you're doing this work, and it may not be related to the work you sat down to do. It has to do with being intentional when you're leveraging AI in strategic ways. If it's transactional, if it's just give me a response to this email in kind, et cetera, all of the ways that we're using it for fast work, it matters less. But when we're talking about leveraging it in meaningful ways, strategic ways, important ways that leverage a combination of human and AI, it becomes more important. I can tell you that we have a small team of people in our group, and I am more socially isolated from them than I used to be earlier in my career. I don't know if that's because I'm getting old, or really just like ChatGPT just kind of gets me. Right? I can sit and collaborate with ChatGPT and get a lot of work done without any conflict. It certainly disagrees with me. I ask it to. I ask it for that kind of feedback, to have that approach to challenge my thinking and so forth. But the way that it's phrased is, well, let me just say that people who use, the data says that people who use AI regularly, the thing they enjoy most is the psychological safety of it. Because I can be more open and transparent with AI than I am likely to be with people. And it works better with me, and it actually learns who I am and how I work. And therefore, it's just easier to work with AI, and so we have to schedule in team calls just to make sure even though they shove a pizza under the door for me every once in a while, it's important to have that, to maintain that human connectivity, AI-free zones, etc. So in just 23 years, this is 2001, the iPod, in 23 years, we've gone from 1,000 songs in your pocket, which was Steve Jobs' famous line, to having 1,000 Nobel laureates in our pocket. Or we're going to be there in the next year or two. This is not the democratization of knowledge, it's the democratization of intelligence. And the value of intelligence, of course there are many forms of human intelligence, the value of intellect is under fire right now. Not just in the form of higher education and how we learn and so forth. I'm talking about at work, what we bring to the table, the skills that we've built. Having access to abundant intelligence is something we're not used to doing. We're not wired for it, and so forth. And in fact, the biggest challenge right now, going forward for the next couple of years, there's really solid visibility on the investments. I'll share it with you in just a second. The biggest challenge is, can we simple humans come up with the use cases that can leverage higher intelligence? Is there enough of those ideas are there enough of those ideas in our organization? That's the number one challenge in terms of achieving great value out of AI in your business. So we came up with a few principles, AI agility, how to feel your best and perform your best. Let me take you through, I'll focus on just number 4 there, which has to do with scenario planning around AI. Planning for tomorrow's AI. Situational awareness, right? Just like you had to for COVID, if this happens, we'll do this. There are a few scenarios. I can tell you that in the next 3 to maybe 6 months on the outside, between now and the end of the first quarter, Microsoft made a bunch of announcements yesterday, that's why they're not on the slide, but every other major company, they're going to do more huge releases in the next, probably by Christmas. Okay, but some of those seem to be slipping. So probably by Christmas. there's this new wave of technologies coming out. Let's talk about what that means for us as users of this technology. There are 4 scenarios. AI and its capabilities have plateaued. It will continue to improve, but in a more linear fashion than what we've seen in the last couple of years. It will continue on an exponential curve, or we will be at artificial general intelligence by 2026, which, there's this alarming video of Elon Musk gaming and talking about AGI that's 48 hours old, saying it's an absolute foregone conclusion that artificial general intelligence will exist in the next couple of years. Many others point to 2029, 2030. So let's explore some of that. Why are we on this exponential curve? Well, it's something called scaling law, and what's happened is, if you go back to 2 years ago, when ChatGPT 3.5 came out, many of these examples will be OpenAI examples, but this is true across the board. They spent $5 million training that model, okay? Right now, XAI, Elon Musk's company, AI company, they just spent $6 billion on the hardware to train their next model. So $5 million 2 years ago gave us that first result. $6 billion. They're now talking about trillion-dollar computing clusters not being impossible by the end of this year in Silicon Valley. Or, sorry, this decade. Nobody leave. By the end of this decade, they're talking about trillion-dollar computing clusters. And what that means is that because they have figured out a way to throw more compute, more resources at getting better performance. And it's not just the models that we're all very familiar with and the standard training models, but it's also this element of inference. About 40% of the investment of AI companies right now on hardware is going towards inference. And inference means it emulates human-like reasoning. You see, it's not made to go faster. It's actually designed to slow down. If you're a ChatGPT user, how many of you use ChatGPT right now? How many of you have a paid license? Okay, so anybody with paid license, you have access to the O1 model, right? And the O1 model, when you ask it something complex, it actually takes sort of 8, 12, 15 seconds to think for a little bit, and then it gives you the result, because its goal is actually to provide the best result, not the fastest result. In fact, the CEO of that company, Sam Altman, recently talked about their goal. What they envision is that the AI will go away and think for an hour, or a day, or a week, or a month. And it will, every once in a while, come back to us and say, hey, I need this data. Could you go run this experiment in the lab, and then input that data, and then I'll keep thinking about it. And that's to solve incurable diseases and so forth. That's what they envision is AI designed to go slower, not faster, even though we're all wonder why cancer wasn't cured in a minute, right? At some point. So much of the investment that they're making right now is on inference compute. And what's happening is both of those lines, they're improving by a factor of 4x every year. And if you do that for a decade, it's a millionfold. And so they believe that they, at least for the next few turns of the crank, they can just keep investing more and more and get better results. And here's what's happened. Now, IQ isn't always the best proxy for intelligence, but this is the Mensa test. And so every week, they're using the Mensa Norway test. Every week, there's a site that tests all of the active models, the large models, and it puts them on a curve. And right now, you can see everybody's kind of bunched up between 80 and 90. And then the inference model, 01, it's at 122. So it's very capable of delivering reasoned results. And this is what's happened because of that. And this is just the preview model. This isn't the full model. But you can see the incremental gain that it got in many of these standardized tests in terms of percentile of performance. The other thing that's happened over the last just 2 years, or 18 months rather, is the cost of compute has gone from $36 to 25 cents. So the quality of the result, the intelligence has gone up, but the cost has plummeted. It's 98% plus, right? Less expensive today. Not all models, but GPT-4o mini is 25 cents per million tokens. So a million tokens is, depending on how long the books are that you read, it's 8 to 12 novels. It's 2 War and Pieces is a million tokens. So every time you put something into the AI or it gives it back, it all counts against tokens. It's using tokens. And remember, like you go to the arcade in the 80s or 90s and you wouldn't use quarters, you'd use tokens? Same thing. You're just putting that in to get these results. And every million tokens used to cost $36, now it costs 25 cents. In 18 months. So the cost is coming down faster than any technology ever. It will be the most accessible technology ever. This is not an issue. Typically when we think about traditionally underserved or rural communities, etc., it has to do with access to the technology itself. That will not be the limiting factor with AI. Their models will ultimately be free to create high value for some individuals. The issue will be access to high quality training. So here's a look at what's coming now, and we don't need to spend a lot of time on this slide, but essentially we can expect releases that get us in the range in 2025 of an IQ of 140 to 160, which puts you in the top 0.1% in the human race. Okay, with O2, with reasoning. And they're going to spend $1 billion on that piece, and they're already working on GPT-5, which is $1 billion effort, and GPT-6 is planned, and that's a $10 billion effort. And then $100 billion, and then $1 trillion. And it results in this sort of performance increase, and it creates a significant skills gap in your organizations. Because we've never learned how to partner with technology the way we have to partner with this technology today. We're now at level 3 with agents. We'll talk about agents very briefly. Agents are tools. They are AI tools that can think and act autonomously. They could be chatbots that are conversation-based for basic interactions. They can also do complex things working together, so agents can work with agents. A year from now, at the WCEDA conference, all of you will have 10 to 12 agents working for you. They're just coming out right now in force. Microsoft, Salesforce, OpenAI in January, Google. We're all going to have agents on our phone. We're going to buy them like we do apps in the App Store, and we're just going to make requests. Find me a dinner reservation, and it will just go. You don't have to go to OpenTable anymore. It will just do it for you. Book me a flight, plan a 3-day itinerary, my best 3 days in a city far, far away, etc. It will go do all of that and check in with you when it thinks it needs your information. And then what's made that possible are 3 key things. First of all, this element of what's known as multimodal computing, this universal interface. It's not all just about typing anymore. I can talk, like I was poorly demonstrating at the opening of today's conversation. I can give it video to deal with, if it's Google, if they have video capability right now. I can just show it something on my camera. It can see what I can see in some models. And I can upload images and data and so forth, and it can process all that. It can hear and listen and talk to me and type back to me, etc. It's got all of those modes. And you combine that with the agent piece of reasoning and planning together, and then combine that with this massive scale that they're investing in, giving us memory and context. So it becomes something, and we work so closely with it, knows us better than any person knows us. It has the ability to capture everything in perpetuity about us, for good, for better or worse. They're already deployed at the enterprise level in many different ways. This is a Google slide, actually, so you can see for coding. Klarna uses the Buy Now, Pay Later service. They replaced 700 employees with an AI to handle customer service transactions, security, data, and so forth. And then these use cases are prevalent in the early stages right now, early adopter stages at the moment. So how do we deal with all of that? We believe the way to do that is not simply to teach people how, like everything I just shared with you, and how to prompt better. We don't think that's it. In fact, we know that we're taking AI agility out through, 400 juniors and seniors in high school in the Ellenbrook School District just completed training in AI agility as well as some human skills. And we're rolling out, our partners are community colleges throughout the country. And right now, Texas, New York, Ohio, and Illinois are the states that we've launched. And so what AI agility is all about is, yes, you have to learn how to work with AI through prompting. It's becoming less important. There's a new tool out from Anthropic, which is the company that brings us Claude. It's an AI tool. And you can just enter your prompt. You can do this in ChatGPT too. You can enter your prompt and say, make this the ideal prompt. So we don't have to be so focused on what it takes to design a prompt. In addition to that, the latest models, they do the reasoning for you, so you don't have to build chain of thought into your prompts any longer. So that's becoming easier and easier. But what's important is that it aligns with the value that the organization or the institution is looking to create. I hesitate to show you this next slide. I didn't know that Ritu would be here today. So on December 4th, there's something coming out on HBR, unless she rejects it, on the editorial board, right? And it's this model around generative AI value creation. We work with dozens of large employers throughout the country, and when we go in and work with those groups, even if they're using AI prevalently in their organization, they're using it for very simple tasks like the fast work that we talked about and you envisioned. So email responses, social media posts, the very simple things to get unstuck, speech introductions, and so on. What we can help them do is work up the pyramid. As business leaders, you can help people focus on higher value use, and you can do that through helping them think about scalable ways to use this technology or ways that impact customers, ways that help transform the business. They don't necessarily have to be visionary innovators, but they can certainly work on things that are much more strategic in nature. And the biggest limiting factor for that is we have to help people unleash their inner 5-year-old. It's the largest barrier to what we are working on. People really struggle with the creativity, the openness, the willingness to share, the transparency, the innovation, the imagination, the willingness to fail. Maybe they don't have permission to fail in your organization. But with AI, it's necessary to be in experimental mode, to try things, to see what's amazing. We're not used to dealing with this abundant intelligence. We don't have to ask for the best title. We can ask for 50 titles. We don't have to brainstorm the way we used to brainstorm. We can. If we want to exercise those muscles, have at it. We should do that sometimes. But we can also collaborate with the AI. It's not us or them. We're working alongside of it so it can help fill the gaps that we need. It can help us break through our design thinking efforts. It can break through business plan possibilities, the ability to get somewhere where it's more about growth than about productivity. This element of building healthy relationships is really important, and we went through some of that in the workshop. The one thing I want to share with you is that from a mindset perspective, the better healthy, human-focused, human-first relationship that I have with AI, the easier it is for me to execute within the bounds of your organization's guardrails from a safety, security, privacy perspective, okay? And there are many ways, there are habits that we can teach people, and I'm happy to provide, we've got slides, those won't be in it, but we're happy to provide a playbook that help you at least identify what those habits are. And maybe the most important thing that we can be thinking about is all of our lives, when we've used technology, we're used to sort of standing across from it. It's very transactional. You think about how you did a Google search this morning. It was you typed in a few keywords and you expected something in return. You expected a highly relevant result. And they're very good at that, right? But it's a transaction. When it comes to working with AI, it's important that we envision ourselves sort of sitting alongside of the technology, either by ourselves or with 3 other people that we're working with the AI as the 5th contributor. And we're actually saying, not, give me this, deliver this, make this for me, but when we're working strategically, it's about, I want to create something with you. I'm bringing skills to the table too. So how do we create something exceptional together? Those are actual prompts that you can use with regard to just sort of casual, natural language. Just like you would say to some 22-year-old kid who walks in the door with his degree and his 140 IQ, you wouldn't say, make me a marketing plan. You would say, let me tell you about our company and our culture and our values and what matters to us. And then let's work together on a few things. And if you need more information, more context, I'll give it to you. You can put AI in a position to succeed. It is not an answer machine. There are tools that are built that way, like Perplexity, which is more about research. It's replaced Google search for me. But when it comes to ChatGPT and other tools, it's more about thought partnership and collaboration and human times AI. It can elevate us, but we have to elevate it too. It's not to the point, no matter how smart it ever gets, it will not know your context on day one. It will learn faster than anybody you've ever worked with ever. It's the most amazing part of really focusing on working alongside of it. From a responsible AI standpoint, it's really just finding that balance. Many of us, whether in higher ed or K through 12 or in business or economic development, we have formed task forces about what should we do. What rules need to be in place? How do we maintain academic integrity? How do we make sure that people are using this in a safe way in our organization? They're still growing. They're not eroding the skills that they have, or if they're younger, never having developed them. Well, we have to find this balance between responsible AI and being AI forward. That's the only way to compete at this point, is to do both. And so we've got playbooks around that as well. And this last piece is around the work that's left for us to do. The human work is going to require human skills. The high cognitive skills, the socio-emotional skills. And we have to be able to work alongside of AI to amplify our capabilities. Let's talk about what those are. Every industrial revolution ever, since steam, so the last 250 years roughly, has called for new skills from employers. If you look at the second industrial revolution, where the internal combustion engine, electricity, and the telephone all happened within sort of 3 years of each other. It was an incredible time. Electricity was seen as a general purpose technology, and it led to more than 50 years of intense productivity. AI is seen in a similar vein that way. But at the time, what it called for was mass production, and so the assembly line and the scientific theory of management, the 8-hour workday, the 40-hour work week, the middle class was born during the second industrial revolution. The skills that they needed were around certainty. So how do I de-risk the business? We're going to make a lot more Model Ts. So how do we lower the cost effectively, capture 50% of the market share nationally? In order to do that, we can't have mistakes on the line. So we need people who can help bring certainty to our business, take risk out. That's what it was all about. As you get into the third industrial revolution, STEM became a requirement. It took us 3 decades to name it, roughly. We don't have that time this time. But since 1974, or maybe even earlier in the 50s and 60s with compute, they have been necessary skills. When you get to the fourth industrial revolution that we're living in right now, it's more about adaptability. And with the revolution that's in front of us with these emerging technologies, which some consider to be 4.x, it's really about developing a skills-based mindset and focusing on human skills, and the reason for that is the human work that will be left to do, which we'll talk about. 63% of companies, 5 out of 8, believe that human skills are the most important skills. This is World Economic Forum. They do a great job every couple of years of looking at this. You can see the skills that are most important based on 12,000 employers' input globally. And the way to read this is, if you look at line 3, artificial intelligence and big data, you can see the plus 12. So today, or last year, that was number 15. But by 2027, it will be number 3. That's the projection. Okay? So you can see it's mostly a rearranging of the deck chairs. But when you look at the skills, it is high cognitive and socio-emotional skills and technical skills throughout. So what we've done over the last 8 years, actually, this started in the UK 8 years ago, we have been building this framework around the human skills. Skills that can help people survive, skills that can help people flourish, have a form of self-agency during this age when we feel helpless in the face of automation and extraordinary intelligence in our machines. Unlock our human potential, work well with one another, and work well with machines. Now, it's a great framework. It's been really useful. It continues to evolve. It's based on all kinds of other research and frameworks and more than 100 contributors over that time. But what's most important is what's relevant in your business. And so I gave you that Elmbrook example up in Brookfield. 14 employers, Milwaukee Tool, Manpower, Rockwell, and small and medium-sized companies as well, Milliman, an actuarial firm, they came together and they said of all the skills on that framework and mindsets, these are the ones that we want to hire for. And so what do we do with that? Well, we got together over a couple of hours and we prioritized these skills and we built a stack of 8 skills that we would start with the juniors and seniors who are also doing projects with these employers in this experiential learning program. And right now they've learned AI agility and they're almost finished with self-motivation by the end of this semester. And then they'll keep moving on to critical thinking. They're explicitly teaching these skills in what are 30-day challenges, essentially. So over the course of a month, in the context of your project and with the work that you do online in our learning management system, you have the ability to actually learn what is critical thinking, how do I build it, how do I build that skill, whether I'm 17 or 57, and how do I work with AI to build that skill? What can generative AI do for me in terms of building the human skills that I need? These are skills you might want so you can build any stack you want is the point. So if you're working with AI, these might be important skills. The reason for this is because of what's happening in the workforce. And what's happening is, according to the CEO at IBM, we will automate the lower half of cognitive tasks during this decade. I'll show you an example of that. In 2017, McKinsey asked a group of AI experts, when do you think the skills that are categorized on the left will be able to be performed by a machine, by AI, in the top, to the level of the top quartile of human performance? So we can all agree that if you're in the top 25% in your company, your organization, you're a pretty good employee, good resource, right? This is what they said in 2017. In March of 23, when ChatGPT 4, based on 4 came out, they asked again, and this is what the group of AI experts said. So you can see much tighter windows and much sooner. Now that's the difference between the dark blue and the light blue line. That's the difference in 6 years. That's how, I don't want to say how wrong they were, because nobody anticipated how fast this was all going to go. And nobody, 6 years, in 2017, nobody was thinking about large language models having this sort of impact. Okay? But this is the difference. So how wrong are they after 18 months? Because I can give you examples like social and emotional output. You can see their original, the least aggressive original projection was 2062. And then after GPT, they said, well, maybe in the 2030s at some point. But recently, there was a test done with 4,000 electronic health records, where the doctors, the clinicians, replied to some of the questions in the EHR. So you put a question in your My Chart, and the doctor comes back to you, right? Or somebody from the team comes back to you. So they had human clinicians do that, and they had ChatGPT do that. Well, ChatGPT was seen to be 40% more empathetic. So of course, it's not empathetic. It emulates it, but its responses were longer, it was more caring. Based on the notes in the health record, it made personal references like, hope you enjoy your wedding in October, or your son's wedding in North Carolina, or whatever the case may be, okay? So there are all kinds of examples here where these skills are being surpassed, and they're one-off studies, so it's not to the point yet where it is always going to do that. Oftentimes they sort of load up the situation so AI's got a better chance, right? So be careful to look at one data point. So here's the impact that we see on work and the way work is structured. We know that roughly 80% of jobs at a minimum are going to be impacted by AI and automation and so forth. And there's a range of how much impact. Some of us will only be impacted by 10% of our tasks. So if you work 50 hours a week and you can bring in an AI agent and it automates 5 hours of your job, I'm guessing most of us are okay with that as long as we have visibility on which 5 hours. But when you work up to having a conversation with an employee or team member or colleague, etc., about 30% or 50% of their job changing, not being eliminated, but 50% of their job changing, it comes down to an extraordinarily nuanced and individual conversation that requires great empathy about essentially an individual tolerance of pain for change. Knowing all of what goes into building skills. So over the last 30 years, I've built a set of skills. I've built relationships on those skills. I find value in myself because of those skills. I put food on the table with those skills. And now you're automating it with AI. And that 20% is extraordinarily important to me because it maintains my relationship with this half of the world. That sort of thing. So there's all kinds of issues here to think about within the organization. So what's going to happen to how work will be restructured and what's there for us to do? Well, we know that transactional work is what's going to be automated, and our work will become much more relational in nature and require domain expertise because human plus machine, human times AI, not or AI, right? Not versus AI. And so as our work becomes much more relational and based on expertise across multiple domains, high cognitive and socio-emotional skills are required. And that looks like that. As human work will leverage AI to augment ourselves. We will substitute all the transactional work will be done by AI and RPA. All the low-hanging fruit, all the fast work, much of the fast work. In the next several years, this is what you're going to be going through from a people standpoint. This technology exists today. This is a function of enterprise scalability and your readiness to implement. Nothing needs to be invented. It probably needs to get a little better, but it's going to get better. We already talked about that. And so let me just give you a de-stressor exercise. You can find this in the slides. When you're thinking about any job in your organization, it can be broken down into discrete units of work. Units of work are fast or slow. They're performed by tasks. Tasks are either automatable, augmentable, or purely human. Tasks are performed by people or machines with skills, and in the case of people, mindsets. Skills are durable, they're not hard or soft, they're durable, transferable, or perishable. And we have to build all three still. We need a portfolio of all of these things. And when you do this, you can use AI to dissect any job. You can use ChatGPT to just run through and say, I want to break down this job in finance. I want to understand what the discrete units of work are. I want to understand what tasks are there, what percentage of them are automatable or augmentable using AI. And you can really give people visibility, or yourself, visibility on how much change each type of job is facing. Then we need to teach people how to partner with AI because they will be augmented. And that determines what our future individual capacity is. And when we do that, we can actually give people runway and visibility. I got this very depressing LinkedIn message yesterday from a friend of a friend in LA who said their entire department's being eliminated next week, December 1, right? And no heads up, it's just AI is going to do that, okay? What we have to wrestle with as business owners is when do we have the conversation, once we decide we're going to start down this path, When do we start having the conversation about helping people build skills that will be relevant in where we're headed? Oftentimes, historically, we've protected that because we don't want people to leave the organization because we bought a new technology. But I can tell you that unintended attrition is going to happen less today because this disruption is everywhere. So can you work through this together? Here's one example, and we'll close with this. This is a customer service role. Customer service is one of the 4 positions that probably is most at risk here between now and 2030. Customer service, sales, back office work, and some of the production jobs. And they do hundreds of things all week long, but they can be categorized in these 13 tasks. And some of them are automatable, some are augmentable, and some are purely human. It becomes more meaningful when you're doing your exercise within ChatGPT where you say, well, how much time do you spend this way each week? Because what this says is that 35% of the job is automatable and only 20% of the job is purely human. And even if I look at that 20% of the job as somebody who uses AI all the time, I would say you would augment yourself for those bottom 4 tasks. So a customer service person, you know that horrible saying that's out there about you're not going to be replaced by AI, somebody who knows how to use AI is going to take your job? That's what that looks like. The opportunity is to help people have visibility into this so they understand the importance of building these skills. We have to invest more in people than in technology. As machines get better, we have to become better at being human. We cannot afford, none of us in this room, either individually or as business owners or leaders in the community, we cannot afford to let AI happen to us the way social media has and other technologies before it. We have to be the author of this narrative for ourselves, for our children, for our people, for the next generation. The ability lies within us to get out in front and be proactive in building these skills and these capabilities. And I just want to say thank you to Derek, to Frank, and you and your team for having me here, and to everybody for taking the time. Thank you for your time.
A lot to think about, and thank you so much. Really, it's fascinating stuff. Part of what we are trying to do with AI is it's moving so quickly. Keep it in front of you. I know it was a lot to take in, but really appreciate everybody being here. Thank you, Todd. Thank you to our sponsors, and look forward. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving too. So thanks again. All right.